AI.
I just made this realistic AI influencer.
I built a Claude Code skill that generates pixel-perfect meta ads for any product in less than a minute. And the results are actually insane.
I tested 500 meta ads using AI, and you can create them with AI in under 5 minutes.
It's all BS. Every Facebook ads guru will come on YouTube and tell you that you need this new AI tool or this new prompt or this new feature inside the ad account, and if you don't adopt it this week, you're gonna fall behind. But the reason your ads aren't actually scaling isn't because you're not using the latest AI prompt to write your headlines. And it's definitely not because you haven't built this overcomplicated Claude Code agent inside your account. It's simply because you're not understanding where AI actually fits in the equation. AI fits inside your paid ad system as a whole game. And once you learn how to play that game, scaling on Meta becomes easier than you've ever imagined. Now, I know this because I've generated well over $115 million in combined revenue for my own businesses and my clients across more than 20 different industries. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the 3 places that AI creates leverage inside your paid ad system, the exact AI research workflow I run to create million-dollar ads, and the backend stack I use to make not a single qualified lead fall through the cracks, so you can finally scale your ads predictably no matter what you're spending. But before we get into all that, we need to rewrite how you think about AI and how it works inside the Meta Ads Manager, because you jump straight into the research phase, or even worse, the backend phase, and you're just going to waste your time. See, the number one problem with running ads as a business owner in 2026 is that you are constantly presented with bad examples of where AI is supposed to fit in the system. In pretty much every single YouTube video on the topic, the biggest moment of the video is when the creator reveals some new AI tool, some new prompt, or some new toggle inside Meta itself. And yes, there might be a passing mention of funnels or creatives outside of the ad account, but ultimately the magic, the secret, the unlock is supposedly something hidden inside Meta or inside whatever new AI tool launched on Twitter last week. The whole video exists to serve that final reveal. But this is why scaling on Meta can often lead to a hell of a lot of overthinking, because you've probably already tried half of these tools that every guru is preaching, and you're sat there with your ad account still generating just maybe average results. Even business owners who understand the idea that AI is bigger than just one tool still feel like the real unlock has something to do inside the ads manager itself or some new tool. But the truth is, scaling on Meta with AI doesn't work like that at all. Your business is not sitting there waiting for one AI feature inside Meta to fix everything. And so the simplest way to fix this fundamental misunderstanding of where AI belongs in your ad system is to stop thinking about it like a single tool you have to find inside Meta, but more like pieces of a puzzle across your entire business. Because while writing a better headline with Claude is definitely useful, that headline is exactly the same size as every other piece. And only when you put everything together does the complete picture actually show itself. Okay, so we understand the idea that AI inside Meta is just one piece of the puzzle, and the real leverage lives across your entire ad system. But what does each individual piece actually look like? Well, this is where we need to fix the next common assumption that makes most business owners burn money for months without realizing it. Because what I see all the time once a business owner has understood the idea that AI is supposed to be everywhere in their system is that they then simply stack AI tools on top of broken processes, hoping that the tools themselves will fix the problem. And that's why every Twitter thread, every LinkedIn post, every YouTube short on this topic for the last 12 months straight has been hyping up AI without ever actually telling you what to do with it, which is exactly why you can feel something is off when you watch them. So what are the pieces that actually matter? There are 3 of them. There is the research aspect, the creative, and then the backend. These are the actual rules of the game, the part that nobody on YouTube is actually teaching you. Now, for the research, this is the place where most business owners are losing the most amount of time without even realizing it. Because the way that most people decide what ads to run is they brainstorm the Facebook ads library to see what their biggest competitors are doing. They then try to replicate their angles and their look like it's working. And honestly, this is the most repeated piece of advice on the entire internet when it comes to Meta ads, where literally every guru is telling you to look like your competitors, do what they're doing, break down why it works, and use the same principles in your own creatives. And while there is like a little bit of truth to it, because yes, the reason it doesn't actually work is because the ad you're copying from the Facebook ad library is a winner that worked for a different audience with a different offer and a different price point. So the second you strip any of these out, the ad is going to flop. So you end up copying the symptom instead of the cause. and you end up running ads that look like your competitors but convert nothing like them because the angle is anchored to what you saw on a screen instead of what your customers are actually saying. And this is where AI can do proper research for you. So what you do here is you can open Claude's Cowork feature and tell it to act as a senior creative strategist for your business, then point out your top competitors and tell it to pull everything it can find about them from their website, their Facebook ad library, their TikTok, Instagram, any patterns it recognizes, and then package the entire thing into a creative strategy document with 10 ad concepts ready to produce. Now, obviously, this is just an example of a prompt, but the best part is you can make this as specific as you want. So you can tell it to focus on your exact niche. You can tell it to only pull angles that work for high ticket offers instead of low ticket ones. You can tell it to build concepts that fit specific ad formats like UGC, testimonials, or founders, talking heads, whatever it may be. You can even tell it to skip every angle a major competitor is already running, so the document only gives you the gaps in the market. And it does this completely hands-off, where you can leave your computer running, and 10 minutes later you come back to a 20-page document with the customer language pulled from real reviews, the angles the market is tired of hearing, the angles nobody is using yet, 10 fully developed ad concepts with hooks and formats and talking points, plus a hook library of 20 lines pulled directly from how customers are describing the product themselves. For example, if you ran this on a life insurance offer just to see how deep it could go, Claude would pull customer reviews and complaints from Reddit threads, Google reviews of competing agencies, and the hundreds of comments under top life insurance ads on Facebook. Then identify that the market is completely numb to the standard 30 seconds for a quote angle running on every single agency page, and what customers are actually scared of is dying without their kids being taken care of, leaving their spouse with a mortgage, or buying a policy and finding out at the worst possible moment that it doesn't actually pay out. Then it would hand you concepts like a worst case scenario ad walking through what happens to a family with no coverage, a contrarian angle calling out the entire industry for selling cheap policies that deny claims, and a trust-driven ad built around an actual agent walking through one real client story with the exact hook, the exact format, and the exact talking points to film. And if you're an insurance agency owner, you can take that document and start producing ads that exact same day on the exact angles that your customer actually care about without ever opening a single Reddit thread or a competitor ad library yourself. And it's just a small piece of the puzzle. When it comes to the creative, this is where most business owners are getting it half right and honestly half completely wrong, because every AI ads guru on this platform is teaching them to fire up Higgsfield, generate 50 UGC ads, and call it a day. And don't get me wrong, that part isn't necessarily bad. The wrong way is thinking that more creative volume on its own is the answer, which is what most people are walking away believing after watching a video about Higgsfield, where the message is just to generate more ads and you'll find a winner eventually. And the reason this does not work is not because volume is bad, because volume is actually necessary right now, since creative fatigue is the #1 thing that is killing ad accounts on Meta in 2026. And if you're filming yourself running the same exact 3 ads for 6 months, you're always going to be far behind. The reason it doesn't work is because volume on its own does nothing for you really, where you can spin up 50 ads, launch them all at once, get 1,000 leads in a week, and still have no idea which one of those ads actually produced the buyer. Which means you can't kill losers and you can't scale winners, and you end up spending more money every single month chasing your tail. So the right way is to spin up entire ads using AI, but only from the angle that research already provided customers care about, and only inside an ad account where the backend can actually tell you which one of those ads produce a real customer instead of just cheap leads. And what I mean by this is when you've got the full system underneath, every new ad you launch teaches Meta something useful about what's working. And with the Andromeda update that everybody's been yapping about, Meta's algorithm is now smarter than it has ever been before at finding your buyers for you, but only if you can feed it clean signals from the start, which means the better your research and the better your backend, the harder Andromeda works in your favor. For example, we work with an insurance agency where every single ad in that account right now is generated using HeyGen. The avatars look like real people, the voiceover is AI, the script is written by AI, and the angles they hit are the exact angles that customers literally already told us that they care about from our research. That ad account is spending about $7,000 a week right now. We're scaling to $10,000 next week, and not a single one of those ads was filmed by a human being. So that's how the creative piece is supposed to work. And then for the back end, this is where I would say majority of people are losing the most money in their entire business, and they probably don't even know it. Because most people run ads, leads start coming in, and that's where the shit show begins. The follow-up doesn't happen fast enough. The salespeople can't handle the volume. A few months in, they're sitting there blaming the leads for converting at 8% when really the leads were fine. The system just couldn't catch them, and the whole system is broken. Now, the reason that doesn't work is because the leads aren't the problem, but the system catching the lead is. And no amount of fresh AI creatives is going to fix a backend that drops the ball every single time a lead actually comes through. The right way is to use AI to fix every single weak point in that chain. And this is something I've never heard someone on YouTube actually talking about. So, for example, inside the insurance agency that I just mentioned, every new agent we bring on doesn't know how to sell yet. And they're historically had to spend their own money buying leads to develop their sales skills, which is pretty brutal. And it's brutal for the agency because they have to train them, do all these things. So I built an AI prospect bot, fake clients with different objections and different price points and different personalities, and new agents, they jump on a call with that bot, run their entire pitch, and at the end, the AI gives them feedback on what they did right, what they did wrong, and how to improve. They can do this 20 hours a day. I couldn't care less because it is all done by AI. They are not actually spending real money. They're not touching real leads. And the level of someone who's been selling for 6 months is very different from a beginner. And on top of that, every single client I bring on, they get their own dedicated Claude project where I dump the recordings of our sales call, our onboarding call, all the context about their business. Then I sync that project to MCP servers of the softwares that we're actually going to use to run their business, like Go High Level for their CRM, Zapier to connect everything together, like the Meta Ads Manager itself, for example. So now I have an AI that knows their business as well as I do, except it's available 24/7 and can take action across every single tool we're running on. And on top of that, it can also read the leads coming in from Meta, see which campaigns are actually performing because the UTMs are being passed through Zapier into custom fields inside Go High Level, and tell me which ad has actually generated the most amount of closed clients. And the reason this matters is because most business owners are flying blind on the back end. A lead would come in and their whole approach is that they either close or they don't. And nobody ever finds out which ad actually produces the best customers. But once Claude is plugged into your CRM through MCP, it doesn't sit there and answer questions. It actually pulls the data for you, builds the reports, writes the follow-up sequences inside Go High Level, drafts the new ad copy based on what the converted leads said in their first few messages, and hands you a complete game plan that you can run that same day. Then whenever I need something to do, whether it's build a follow-up sequence, pulling a report, writing a new ad copy, or fixing a broken Zap automation, I just brain dump using Whisperflow straight into Claude. And Claude gives me a complete game plan that we can run. And the amount of work this replaces is genuinely insane, because the entire team I would have needed to hire to do all of this 5 years ago is now one Claude project per client, plus me with a microphone and Whisperflow. So that's the entire backend piece pretty much. Now, although AI feels like a cheat code in 2026, compared to 3 years ago, it's only going to amplify what's already there, which means if your fundamentals are tight, AI scales them faster than anything else. But if your fundamentals are weak, AI is simply going to help you lose money faster, which I assume you don't want. So if you want to absolutely nail the Meta Ads fundamentals, go to this video next where I break down the exact roadmap I'd follow if I was learning Meta Ads from scratch in 2026. And that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that subscribe and I'll see you guys on the next one.